This is the bet adjustment simple example. Disclaimer: Mike Carosi would never advise using this system, but it's simple to use for the first example. For that matter, Mike Carosi doesn't advise gambling. The martingale system is commonly used on a bet that has close to 1-to-1 odds. You start with a bet and double the bet when it loses. If it wins, the bet starts over with the initial wager. The problem with this system is a short losing streak can sink your bankroll. This chart shows how a $5 starting wager can end up risking $1,275 just to win back an initial $5 wager plus $5. Worst of all, it takes only 8 spins to get that out of control. Many casinos have a low maximum bet limit, so even with a high bankroll, you might not be able to wager enough to win $5. Back to business. The first thing is to write down the strategy in simple steps. 1. Place 1 unit on red. 2. Spin the wheel. 3. If red won, change it to 1 unit. 4. Else, if red lost, double the bet. The term unit simply represents the bet amount. The unit can be $1, $5, or $100, and it usually changes depending on the bankroll. Right-click in the strategies and select New Strategy. Type in the name Simple and Risky Martingale. Steps 1 and 2 will be done manually. The first row will be used to check if red won. Change the logic to if. Change the positions to red. Change action to won this spin. Add the optional row note. The second row will be used to apply a change if red won. Change the logic to apply. Change the action to change bets. Change the positions to red. Change the money to $1. Add a row note. Now if red wins, the bet on red will be changed to $1. A position can only win or lose if there is money on that position. Right-click in the row area to add a row at the bottom. This row will check if red lost. Change the logic to if. Change the position to red. Change the action to lost this spin. Add a row note. Right-click in the row area again and add a new row at the bottom. This row will be used to apply a change if red lost. Change the logic to apply. Change the action to change bets. Change the positions to red. Change the money to ×2. This will double the current bet on red. Add a row note. Make sure Apply Adjustments is selected. I'll place the initial $1 bet on red. Spin the wheel and the adjustments are made automatically. The wheel speed is currently set at no animation, so the ball simply moves to the next number. Black showed, so the bet lost. Carosi read the first row to check if red won. It didn't, so it placed an F for false in that row. A red vertical bar was placed next to the action because the action was false. It skipped the next lower apply row and then looked for the next lower logic row. The next row checked if red lost. It did lose, so a T for true was placed in that row, and the row applied counter was bumped up to 1. A vertical green bar was placed next to the action because it was true, and the row was highlighted in green because the row was true. Carosi then looked at the next lower row to see if it was a logic row or an apply row. Since the next row was apply, the red bet was doubled. A T was placed in the row, and the row applied counter was bumped up to 1. The row was highlighted in green because apply rows evaluate to true. The last evaluated row was apply and true, making the group true, and the group applied counter is bumped to 1, and the group is highlighted in green. The group's process next group list box is then evaluated. It is currently set to always continue, and the next lower group would be evaluated if there was one. The bet was automatically removed from the board since it lost. I don't want to replace the lost bets manually every time, so I'll select the Replace Lost Bets button in the Start Conditions section. Now the bets will be replaced after each spin, regardless of whether they win or lose. I'll place the $1 bet back on the board and spin the wheel. This time, red showed and the bet won. Karosi read the first row and red won this spin. This is true, so the row is marked with a T. A vertical green bar is placed next to the action. The applied count is bumped to 1, and the row is highlighted in green. The next row is an apply row, so the bet was changed to $1, even though it's currently $1. A T was placed in the row. The applied count is bumped 1, and the row is highlighted in green. Row evaluation stops because the next lower row is a logic row. Because the last row was apply and true, the group evaluates to true, and the group applied counter is bumped to 1, and the group is highlighted in green. I'll spin the wheel. Black showed, so the bet was doubled. I'll spin again, again, again. I'll generate 30 spins to see how the system works over time. Karosi attempted to double the bet, but the bet exceeded the bankroll. An F was placed in the apply row, and the bet remained $64. The results view displayed this message along with the generate spins information. I'll change the unit value to $5 and change the apply row from $1 to U for unit. When the program sees U in the money column, it will replace it with the unit value. I'll place a $5 bet on red and reset the adjustments. This clears the applied counts, true-false indicators, and colors. I'll generate 30 more spins and see how it plays out. It's actually doing okay for now. I want to set some start conditions so every time the system is used, they are set up automatically. The start conditions are processed from left to right. The unit and replace lost bets are applied every spin. The other settings are applied only once and only after the Reset Bet Adjustments button is pressed. Reset stats to clear the session stats. Clear results to clear the simulation results. This doesn't clear the simulation group results though. Clear the plot. Clear the board. States to false would set all states to false, but this strategy doesn't use states. Set the bankroll to $300. Right-click in the adjustments area and add a new group to place the initial bet. Drag the new group to the top. I'll change the first row to change red to 1 unit. Add a row note. I'll add an optional group note. Delete the extra row. Select Continue after applied. The group will then place the initial bet on red and proceed to the next spin. Select the Use Once option. This group will be evaluated on the first spin, after the Reset Bet Adjustments button is pressed. It will be ignored in all spins after that. Select Reset Bet Adjustments. After spinning the wheel, the board, stats, results, and plot will be cleared. All bets removed, and the bankroll will be reset to $300. The first group placed the initial bet, and adjustments were made on the following spins. That concludes the bet adjustment simple example.